How's everyone Christmas Eve going? It's pretty good. Pretty good. Drinking some Glühwein. In the top right, 2,000 atmospheres, we have Barry Rar. Bottom left, it is Uncle Toby. Uncle Toby, pretty good macro player here. Apparently this gets down to the wire, though. Woke up, had some pancakes. Called the extended family. And then took inventory of the food.
Resubscription received.
That was fun.
Apparently you are doing something right, Captain.
Thank you, Uncle Toby, for the full year. Full year resub. Merry Christmas, got her just in time. Yes, you did. Perfectly timed. Alright, so Uncle Toby, like I said, pretty damn good macro player. What are you at now? Are you Masters 3? Oh, very annoying here. The actual new way to do this, the even more annoying thing to do, if you're a Terran player out there, by the way, sorry. I'm gonna betray the Protoss here. The more annoying thing Terrans are doing now is actually building the bunker, let's say here. Because it's still difficult for the Protoss to actually get a cancel on it if you can dance around with the SCV. And if the Reaper arrives. Now, in this case, Barry Rar didn't go for a fast Reaper. Instead went Reactor, then 2 Reapers, so it probably wouldn't have gotten up if it wasn't sneaky. And as such, this more typical old-fashioned location of the bunkers is pretty figured out. Oh, there you go, there you go. It's pretty figured out. You know, Uncle Toby doing exactly the right thing, actually. It's a little more complicated because there's 2 Reapers in it, sure, but nope, doing exactly the right thing. And brings the Oracle back just to fucking get it over with. You want to build Stalkers when you realize what's happening. You want to build a shield battery. Pros would actually, I guess, argue you don't have to build Stalkers, but it does seem to be the easiest thing they do in my opinion. Usually you have first Adept, because that's just your opener. But then Stalker, shield battery, that's the most important thing. Getting a shield battery up, and you're Gucci. You're good. Uncle Toby goes for a gas steal at some point. Might have pushed Barry Rar into a 3 racks, but actually I don't think that's the case. I think just already planning on the 3 racks. Having that second gas isn't the most important thing. You do still want the gas eventually for your factory and all that good stuff, but you can scramble together enough gas to build stim and combat shields, especially if you just go pure marine. If you have to, but it's actually the minerals that are currently missing from Barry Rar. Supply blocked as well, not dropping a mule when given the opportunity, especially since you know it's not a Dark Shrine. No reason to hold on to that. There we go, there we go. Kind of wasting minerals on missile turrets, so if you are facing a Stargate player who has shown an Oracle, chances are they are actually going Oracle, Twilight Council, and not a lot of Phoenix. It's not always the case. But until you see like a Phoenix pop out as well, you don't really need a missile turret. The only reason I am being critical here is that Barry Rar has messed up the 3 rack split a little bit because of this extra caution, which isn't necessary. The engineering bay itself is often included in the 3 racks, so you don't die versus DTs, but missile turrets, not actually necessary. Anyways. Double Oracle, now a bit more of a threat to the SCV line. Could have been, rather, if there wasn't missile turrets. No threat at all. Uncle Toby needs to worry more so about the defense of the 3 racks. It can be tricky when you go into a Stargate. It can be tricky. Uncle Toby even not bother and grab this 3rd Nexus. You could. You'd have to be very careful about knowing if you have to cancel it, though. But it would actually be the best case scenario. Woo! For this defense to happen, oh, okay, good eyes. For this defense to happen, as well as a 3rd Nexus being built, right? It's for the Terran side of things, they don't really want to just collect a 3rd Nexus. They will if that's the only thing they can get. But that's not their goal. Their goal would be to sim into this. It's not gonna work out, though. At the very least, able to detect these stasis traps. Gotta give the Terran props for that, but... okay, this is a little bit odd, Going a little too far away from the shield battery, trying to chase these units down. Definitely do it when the stim is over. But until stim is over, just play it cautiously, especially with the no third nexus to defend, right? Loses a couple of the oracles. That's all right. I don't think you really need 3 oracles against Terran anyways. 1 oracle still gonna do that scouting, and charge is done. So eventually Uncle Toby should be able to build enough zealots. Currently only 5 gateways though. That is the problem. Can't actually spend the amount of money. Their nexus does get slapped down, and additional gateways are being added on. If you do go into a very heavy mineral type of composition, so charge lots, if you're delaying your gases, if you're not transitioning very quickly, you can get up to at least 8 gateways. Right, that I think was the bare minimum of gateways. Especially if you're saturated on 3 bases, and then you would actually say you maybe want to go up to 10. It's very easy to not have enough gateways when you've put all of your resources onto the mineral portion, and you're not really collecting a lot of gas. So Uncle Toby, maybe having enough gateways would have been able to overwhelm their 3-racks and then immediately initiate a counterattack. One without a warp prism, so not that scary of a counterattack, but still, unfortunately, kind of has to stay at home for now. Does need to worry about the next step of this PVT. You know, the little power spike that you get going into charge from a Stargate, it quickly dissipates if you haven't done anything with it, right? It dissipates. Suddenly charge lots actually aren't that good. The Terran Bioforces get a couple upgrades, although this guy actually got a late +1, so not so much on that port, but they start to lose out in upgrades, maybe, and they start to lose out in numbers, even if you have enough gateways. And they start to lose out the micro. The Terran army knows how to stutter step, and the Zealots don't do so hot. In this case, it's just the sheer number of units. Really need a huge concave. You need to get these Archons actually hitting the Terran army, which is difficult to do when the Zealots go in face first through a choke. This is the weakness of Uncle Toby's composition, but oh, some beautiful force fields. There you go. That's what's necessary, and the Archons got all those sweet connections. Still a scary situation, but Uncle Toby at the very least has an upgrade lead with 1-1 done. Slaps down to their stasis trap. Let's see if it's scouted. It is scouted, immediately taken down as well. But 3 Archons still alive. Really just need that buffer. Just need to actually connect, which they certainly should be able to do. And I think time is running out on the Terran's push here. It looks so close. You really want to say, okay, I can kill him, I can kill him, I can kill him. But with the Archons still up and running, it's difficult. Uncle Toby also getting a 4th base up and running during this while going into Robotech is exactly what he wants to do. This is the prime situation for him. It might look like he's struggling, and oh no, the Widow Mine's getting some connections in the heart of the Protoss army. Suddenly turns this into a potentially game-losing situation, but I think the Disruptor and Colossus are going to make the defense happen. That would have been very spicy. So without the Widow Mines, Uncle Toby was pretty much secure enough. With the Widow Mines, oh, that got a little scary. But the transition was happening, and that's what I was trying to get into. You need to start that transition. Oh, unfortunately, though, all emphasis on the Robo transition, no blink, and suddenly these Liberators, perfect choice from the Terran, kudos for that, are a huge problem. A couple of Stalkers are warped in, but they're not going to do so while the 2 Liberators already sieged up. Some Bios still up and running, although very weak. Couple of Colossus swipes will kill a lot. It's still not enough to actually push away the Liberators. They are the key problem. Disruptor used on just the Widow Mines, fair enough usage. More units being warped in, more Colossus being made. Suddenly start making Phoenix is not a bad idea in this very, very desperate scenario. Not a bad idea. And you can also use a Phoenix or 2 to even just drag Widow Mines. I'd say that'd actually be worthwhile. It's definitely not something a Terran would be expecting right now. And it would either help clear out the Liberators if it splashes them, or help clear out the Bio, and the Liberators themselves all alone should not be enough to win this game. But 4 of them now with still Bio left over. That is getting awfully scary. Another Widow Mine shot to weaken up those Zealots. Colossus now taking the shots from the Liberators. This is very spicy. Uncle Toby might actually have to give up the space at this point. There's just too much stack defense or siege defense. There we go. Offense. Siege offense. And no static defense yet, as Uncle Toby realizes and rebuilds the shield batteries. They only just finished up. All the probes dying. Might not have been the most worthwhile defenses. You do have some zealots desperately trying to go for a counterattack, but then clicked onto the command center. Probably the worst case scenario for them. They don't even trade out against the bio. The Nexus does in fact fall. No overcharge. And you might as well just abandon ship on this location at this point. Pull back. We'll keep tabs on the Terran army. Keep tabs on them for sure. So you want to catch these liberators when they're on siege, but if forced to, pull back and just kind of cut your losses. It does keep track of the Terran army, realizes they move away, and now would be a perfect time to replace the Nexus, exactly what Uncle Toby does. Still a very difficult game for our Protoss player. Actually, the only good thing that's happening for Uncle Toby is, well, one, okay, the robo units are being pumped out. That is good. But then two, the upgrades. Uncle Toby's going to have 2-1 against not quite 1-1 of Barrier R. That +1 armor's not done. I don't know if this is going to be timing that works even with the upgrade, though. Oh, Bio Army very stacked up. Yeah, I don't think so. Just too many numbers, too many Liberators, no blink. War Prism's not even quite out. But I do like that Uncle Toby is starting to take command. I don't think Uncle Toby could ever push in. Well, maybe if the Disruptor gets a hit and the Liberator is pointed the wrong direction. Yeah, okay, then maybe then. But anyways, with the army that Uncle Toby has, it's not really being directly countered. There's not a whole lot of Vikings. And it finds the Terran army in its own choke. Yeah, this type of army that Uncle Toby has, it is supposed to be the bully. So this so far is so good for Uncle Toby. He's starting to replace that supply loss from earlier. Excellent engagement here. The Bio Army has to run away from the Disruptors. So the Stalkers, even without Blink, take down the Liberators. And their Colossus, well, they are starting to get taken down by the Vikings. There's still 2 left over. Disruptors still are alive. They don't have a shot, though, by the looks of things. The Terran army, it's weak. It's not with the decent upgrades. And actually, Uncle Toby is going to move on through here. Barrier not taking the threat seriously enough. Finding himself awfully disjointed when it came to taking the engagement. Probably not too happy with how this ended. It still is awfully close. If Barrier had maybe lifted the 3rd CC and consolidated the army, instead of trickling it in one by one, probably has another chance at life here. But now Uncle Toby knows that Barrier is on the ropes and might expedite the attempt to move into the natural, or might play cautiously. Both are, one would work, the other one's just safe. Alright, yeah, gonna push in here. Gonna push in. It is the best concave possible for a Terran player. Disruptor is really finding not too much. Colossus taken down, and the Vikings landing will actually clean up the Protoss army. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I said it would work. I guess I was wrong. Maybe pulling back. Maybe Uncle Toby should have moved in and then pulled back once he realized that the concave was that good, but it was one of those weird concaves that there was just so few units actually provided in concave. Like 2 Marauders, 1 Ghost, 1 Ghost, 1 Marauder, 2 Marauders. That it actually looked very winnable. But suddenly the damage output's not really there. You know, Stalkers, decent damage dealers, not immortals. No charge lots, slicing and dicing while also tanking all that damage. Suddenly you realize the Protoss army was a bit vulnerable. This game is a bit of a slugfest. Barrier might have had a better second chance at life had they evacuated sooner, but with Uncle Toby actually over-investing into the attack, now Barrier does have that second chance at life. Slaps the 3rd CC down, continues on with the upgrades, which were initially late. He just forgot them initially. He's been doing a good job recovering from that. Now pretty on point. Both of these players, I suppose, warmed up. And now Uncle Toby is the one who's in danger of being out-upgraded. So it's 2-2 versus 1-2. It's flipped. The script's been flipped. And it's about to get worse as Uncle Toby continues to invest in replacing army and has not remembered to start any more upgrades. This could actually be very problematic. Now, as things calm down a little bit, although Uncle Toby's still out for blood, as things calm down, maybe Uncle Toby will remember to start at least +2 armor, +3 attack, at least 1 upgrade. Would be amazing, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. Uncle Toby really thinks he can actually win this game. Hitting some of his own zealots with disruptors. This army is just not incredibly reliable at this point. Uncle Toby again in danger of being concaved on. If you don't have disruptors, if they don't have shots, suddenly that army that looks impressive is absolutely not impressive. Good focus fire there on the disruptor as well. Excellently done by the Terran player to survive this onslaught. The Zealots were taking up their time killing SCVs, which were still effective right now. Only 40 SCVs for the Terran, but all the disruptors have died. The remaining Zealots trying to charge on in are out upgraded and now being kited as well with enough medevacs to finally heal this Terran army. That Bererar might again barely survive. But Uncle Toby is on 4 bases, 72 probes, and is continuing to throw bodies at the Terran. And Bererar needs to play this out very carefully. Again, could consolidate. Could buy more time, wait for more upgrades even. Oh, and if you got Widow Mines, actually Widow Mines the biggest thing that's missing right now. Oh, then maybe Bererar could survive. He's got a 5th base landed, turning into a planetary. There's a big chance he can recover. He still has 3 orbitals, so he's still got mules to drop. He's got 5 command centers that can replace the SCVs. He just needs to stabilize. Uncle Toby realizing maybe this choke isn't working out so well for him anymore. But, oh my god, there's a lot of DTs. Oh, geez, they don't have blink. They are scanned, they are identified, so you just pull back from them and they're really not all that scary. And while you're pulling back from the DTs, you're killing the DTs, you're also not being shot by the Colossus. So again, not the most dependable Protoss army coming out here. Powerful if the Terran army stays in place and doesn't do anything. Doesn't get a concave, doesn't get a surround, doesn't micro. Oh yeah, the Terran army, the Protoss army is great, but the Terran actually gets any type of surround. If Liberators come back into play, there's very little anti-air. But Uncle Toby continues to do economic damage. First, the 3rd CC and all the SCVs that were there. Now, the natural being lifted on fire as well. Let's see if that actually gets repaired in about 20-30 seconds. And here come those Liberators. Here comes the Marauders. Still no blink on the DTs or on the Stalkers, meaning that the Vikings, well, maybe they had micro better. 4 Vikings are on the way. I do think the Colossus might just die if they continue moving forward. The Liberators are going after them in their anti-air mode. That's actually not the most ideal. They do siege up a bit aggressively, though, but it seems perfectly. Uncle Toby not quick to pulling back. Thought maybe the engagement was going well enough on the ground, which technically it was. He won the ground fight. Pushes through the Liberators and loses almost both Colossus. Almost. I mean, just a little tap. Little tap. Little tap, tap. Little tap, little tap. Little tap with Vikings. Hello? Hello? Now the DT sneak into the main base. Might go for the missile turret. DT's over here. Also could go for the missile turret. Maybe? Yeah, it's too late, actually. It's too late. Yeah, he's identified it as well. Of course, Uncle Toby still on 4 bases. Now looking towards a 5th by the looks of things. Doesn't know about the Terran's 5th, which at the very least should be where all the mules are being dropped so that they never have to evacuate. Uncle Toby, I do believe, has this game, because really by cutting off the natural and the main, you have also cut off the 3rd CC. The 4th is the only one that's really successfully mining. Only thing better for the Protoss would be stopping the production. Then it would be game over. If Uncle Toby was in the main base, it'd be game over. But Bererar is not willing to tap out of this game. Gonna give it his all, and as long as he has production and economy, that makes sense. Colossus does finally get left tapped. 2 disruptors gonna be target fired again. Props to the Terran for that one, but Uncle Toby also not even getting to shoot a shot. Just trying to control other parts of the army by the looks of things. DTs with blink this time around aren't in high enough numbers to actually do any damage. This is a very, again, unreliable is the word I'm gonna continue using. Unreliable Protoss army. It feels extra special as a Protoss player when you win the game by blinking DTs behind the Marauders. Then you know that you are causing that Terran to rage. But actually, the DTs are not, they're not part of the main army. 9 times out of 10, they're not good with the main army. I don't know what's happening with these graphics, by the way. It's freaking flip out. All right, so no more scans have to be used. Actually, that's why he's landing the command centers, I think, more so than anything else. Has to scan. Barely gets his medevacs out of there in time. Will take down every last DT. He'll be able to chase down the Stalkers. Uncle Toby, again, perhaps overstaying his welcome. Oh, please unload from that weak medevac. Please, oh my god, unload. Jesus, okay, there it goes. Woo, okay. It's also been 3-1 against 3-3 for a long time, guys. The Terran's bioforces are just a little bit better. They're just barely able to survive. Oh, even these ones barely able to survive. going back to the safety of the Liberators. It'd be awesome if Barry basically had more APM. If this guy was Maru, he'd be doing the dance in the bio plus Resiege and Liberators. He'd probably already be fine. But if he was Maru, he'd already have won the game as well. So he's trying his best, man. He is trying his best. My Terran side is actually fairly impressed with this guy's recovery. He's been on the ropes from this 3rd CC defense back at, what, 10, 11 minutes till now. He's been on the ropes for like 10 minutes at least. And he's recovered. He actually has recovered. He still has 3 orbitals, right? He repaired the weak one. Still has 3 orbitals. 5 command centers in total, so he just went through a round of building SCVs. He has a base that is not known. So it's just freely mining with mules, getting saturated. And Uncle Toby was basically so invested into trying to kill the Terran that he didn't actually continue getting ahead. The 5th Nexus comes down long after he starts long distance mining with the probes. I mean, damn, what a game. Thank you, Krotas133 for the Prime sub, by the way. Well, that was Slugfest was happening. It looks like Uncle Toby... Oh, got something over here to see it. Actually, at some point, something came over here. Does Elnaga see it? I don't think so. Anyways. Now knows about it. This isn't the best planetary killing squad, I gotta say. It will kill the SCVs, and that's exactly what Uncle Toby goes for, but might be losing some stalkers in the process. If it ends up killing the planetary, then absolutely worth it, but this has been a long time trying to kill the planetary. You gotta know the Terran army is on the way, and absolutely it is. This time, EMPs included, going to obliterate the Archons. Every last one get taken down before the recall actually gets going, and also is a backup scan for the DT problem that was happening earlier. I think Uncle Toby by now has learned his lesson that maybe DTs will not win him the game. And they're even worse when you're using them defensively in the situation, but definitely not when EMPs are out. And 4 Ghost is a pretty perfect number for the situation. It's still a very low income situation for both parties, and ghosts are expensive, and there's a certain number of ghosts that just get comical. You don't need that many ghosts, especially if you have the upgrade, which he does. He also had +2 ship weapons, by the way, at some point, so the upgrades have actually been fantastic for Barry Rar, a big contributor to why he brought this game back, as those Liberators were also 2-shotting the Stalkers. Uncle Toby really couldn't break them, and speaking of Stalkers, there's literally 2. They will not survive. If they're EMP'd, they get 1-shot, so Liberators are the biggest problem. Now, Liberators are going to slow the Terran army down, right? So you still have to be careful with them. They're siege units, so they'll be slowed. They might get caught running over Stalkers accidentally. He doesn't realize where they were heading. But they are the scariest thing for Uncle Toby if he lets them get sieged up offensively. And if he's ever forced into a base race, Uncle Toby should lose it because he can't break the Liberators defending home. So now it's a lot about mobility. It's a lot about finding the Terran army without the Liberators and still managing to win, which that is still in question. The upgrades massively... Oh no, Uncle Toby! Oh my god, Jesus. Oh my god. Alright, the upgrades still in favor of Barry Rar mean that the ground armies should still be in his favor. Like, and then the Liberators on top of that. Uncle Toby is gonna need something... It's gonna need something big to happen to actually win this game. Down 50 supply, no 5th base, all the initial bases already mining out, knowing that the Terran at the very least has that planetary full-on mining. Could be rebuilding another one for all he knows, and the Terran is. And they have orbitals to go ahead and spread around. It looks like Uncle Toby's trying to do the last stand around his 3rd base. There's a 4th, but whatever. Is going to be able to barely clean things up. Maybe, no, actually, it doesn't look that way. No disruptor shots left over. The last one taken down, and Uncle Toby's last stand will not be starting a comeback. GG. What a game, though. What a game. Excellent play there. Just a little bit of over-investing into the attack.
Resubscription received.
Oh, man.